and welcome. I am Scarperlock, and this is City of Heroes on the private server Rebirth. We're with our Stalker, Tiger Shrike, who's level 26, and I've not shown you some things. So, I did the final story arc for Mercedes Sheldon, or whatever her name is, and we were fighting this boss of the warriors named Heracles, or one of those, and things were going well. We'd gotten ambushed by a boss and two minions twice in the mission. And then I got to Heracles, and I popped Hasten, and I had Dull Pain, and Reconstruction ready, and I had Inspirations, and everything was good. And I defeated him. And then I got ambushed by, I kid you not, three bosses and six minions all at the same time. And I got killed, and I'm like, okay, I'll go back. And I didn't realize, I knew there was one boss because I had targeted it and I had started attacking him. And I figured I had the rest of the guys were all minions. Then I went back and I placated that boss and I'm like, okay. And then I hit tab to target and I'm like, wait, there's another boss just as I died. And so then I bought like a whole tray of Lux and I went in there, and what I was doing was, as I was running back and forth from the hospital to the ship where the mission was, which was like a half a mile, three-quarters of a mile in game space, I was pausing it. And there were one of the pauses I screwed up. And I'd either pause when I thought I was unpausing or unpause when I thought I was pausing. And I saw it when I was getting, and the ambush was moving closer and closer to the mission entrance, because every time you're on the map, they're running toward you. They know, they're omniscient. They know exactly where you are at all times on the map. And so I would walk in the entrance and sort of super speed down there, and they kept coming closer and closer to me, north, up the, the boat, was this big, and they were down here for the first ambush, and then here, and then here. So I got in there, and I went around the corner. I'm like, oh, here they come. Oh, crap, I forgot to unpause it. And I went to do that. I'm like, oh, crap, it's been running the whole time. And I went, and then I hit it, and then I was trying to hit a bunch of Lux, and I just got killed again. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are watching this. And I was joking, and I finally went and defeated them, and I wasn't recording it. So it was a mess of an episode. It was so chopped to pieces, I decided it's not worth posting. So you guys didn't get to see me get my pants beaten like 4 times in a row. Ended up being 4 bosses, because after you killed the first 2, while you were fighting the third one, the fourth one came after you. And they were all +1 to me. Of course, that's my fault because I asked for +1 missions, but 4 bosses in a row. Actually, 5, because you killed one boss and then you're ambushed by 3 together. I don't know if you actually were supposed to fight all 3, or if the game screwed up and it was supposed to send them to you one at a time. Because 3 bosses and 6 minions all at once is insane. And of course, I had already popped Dull Pain and Reconstruction to fight the first boss. So that's why we are out of inspirations, but we should be fine now. We have 90 minutes for this next mission. So we're with Lori Pennington. One of the things that happened is a bunch of our contacts went inactive because we got over level 25. This guy here is a Pretoria contact, so I'm going to probably avoid him. I wish you could like right click on a contact and say inactivate and just get rid of him. This is also Pretoria, not doing him. Andrew, we've done hers. Marvin asked me to go to Croatoa. I'll do the Croatoa content with you guys, I think, but I'd rather do some of the regular content first, and we'll do Croatoa in another level or so. We're 3 beads into 26 because we finished that story arc. You can see we got 11,000 experience for it when we finished it. So Lori Pennington is an independent support contact. We didn't have any contacts in here, so I figured we should get working on one of those. And she says that there is a congressman that the council is planning to kidnap, and we've got to go rescue. Congressman Hadley. And we're going to board a train, so we're right here. So this is going to be an outdoor mission. And then we got one mission in Croatoa, but it's just to talk to somebody. So I can do that off screen. And then he'll give us a mission, I'm sure. Alright, so you have to find 7 people. Now this is going to be easier with this character because of hide, but harder because she doesn't have super jump or fly. Sometimes there are, I'm going the wrong way here. Sometimes, yeah, back here, there are hostages. So we're just going to have to go all the way around the map and see. And one of the things I have to try to avoid is running around so fast with super speed that we don't see what's right in front of us. Because I have a tendency to do that, as you've probably seen. This is just council, so they're not going to be any issue, but our goal is to rescue. Our goal is to rescue these guys, but as you know, I can't resist taking out lieutenants in a one-shot. And Eviscerate is awesome. Look at that, 128 damage. Alright, so I'm going to run around the edge and find the edges. I always like to do that. My guess is we may see the Archon as we go. And we'll take out some lieutenants as we go. One thing the lieutenants should do is help us refill our inspirations, as you saw right there. They are much more likely to drop an inspiration than a minion is. So if we just take out some normal spawns, we should find a bunch of inspirations. Right there, we got another one, right? 3 lieutenants down, 3 inspirations. And we got ones from the minions too, so that's awesome. Wow. That's because it took me too long to kill him. And you can see all the inspirations we now have. We started with an empty tray. Alright, so this is the edge here. And watch Eviscerate, man, this is awesome. 71 damage to a yellow con. Unenhanced. So here's the parking garage. Usually the boss is right around here. Sometimes in the parking garage. Or up on top. These are just minions. And there's a lieutenant, so we're going to take him out. This so reminds me, guys, and I've told this story of the time with my ninja Stalker, where I would just go around the outdoors of, I can't remember which zone it was, in around this level. She was around 26, 27 level, and I was doing it in the Rogue Isles, because it was City of Villains, and I was just going from one, there was like these little spawns was just a lieutenant, and I was just going from lieutenant to lieutenant, kicking their butts. I got so many enhancements and inspirations and tons of XP and influence, because as you can see, you get more influence than experience for killing a lieutenant. And there he is, Archon Leary. Well, we may as well beat him up. We should be okay here with a single boss. I don't expect to get ambushed. Let me kind of move out of the way there. And done. Now this guy will be nothing. If we could hit him. There we go. Oh, they got massive slashing resistance. I got to keep that in mind. Okay, so we defeated the Archon. Now we just got to find the people. So let's go ahead and continue with figuring out the limits of this little area. As you can see, it's quite large. Oh, there's another lieutenant. I feel like I'm farming them. I guess I kind of am. See, got another inspiration. So that's interesting. This guy has less resistance than the mech man I was fighting with the boss. So I don't know. I think he does. I could be wrong about that. Alright, so we are nearly done mapping it out at the edges. There we go. Alright, so now we gotta look for hostages. And you often find them in between these sorts of buildings with the brick. Haven't seen a single one yet. But we've been nibbling around the edges, so I guess they're not at the edges. And of course, every single time I do this, it's getting into nightfall, just to make it that much harder to find. And it's just based on the world clock, I believe. So when it's dark in the rest of Paragon City, it's dark in these outdoor zones. They just follow the same clock as, you know, Talus Island and Steel Canyon and those guys. Yeah, that focus only does 30 damage. So they do have a lot of resistance. So guys, I don't know if I've shown you what happens when you don't succeed, and you're certainly not going to see it now when you don't succeed at a time mission. Not that I think I can't fail it, but I'm not going to run a 90-minute episode. If, you know, we get down to like 45 and I still haven't found them, I'll just turn the episode off, because you don't need to see that. It's too long. But what happens when you fail is it resets and you got to do it over again. So it's not like you can say, well, if I'm struggling with finding mobs in this mission, I'll just let it fail and go do the next mission. Now, I don't think so. I think if you fail it, you got to do it again. So if you end up with some mission where like you just can't find the 7th hostage, no matter how much you try, in the old days there was nothing you could do. Now you can, if you abandon the mission, you have to retake it. You can retake it. If you complete it, if you like auto-complete it, which you can do once, I think every 3 or 4 days, then you don't have to play it again. And that was another thing that Statesman fought very hard against. But one of the reasons I think they ended up doing it was they got tired of their CSRs, their customer service representatives, constantly having to answer tickets for people who were doing missions where like things just didn't spawn, right? I can distinctly remember I was actually in the morning. I was teaching at a community college. In between my 2 postdocs, I was teaching at a community college, and I taught at noon, and I had an office hour at 11 o'clock in the morning before that. So what I would do is I would, I had the morning to myself, and then I would go like around 10:30, and I was an adjunct, so as an adjunct you don't have to have office hours, but I thought I should. So I went in at like 10:15 in the morning. It took me about like 20 minutes to get there. I'd get there around 10:30, and then I would sit in the office for an hour, and then I would go teach class, and then I would come home. I was just teaching the one class, wasn't making a lot of money doing it. It was just for like 1 quarter. And so what I would do is, I had the morning to myself, right? I'd still probably get up at like 7 a.m. And um, as you can see, look how much of the map I've covered. I've only found one hostage. There should be somebody back here, usually. Usually there is. Huh. So anyway, I was playing my scrapper. I believe it was, say 6 months after launch, like that September, October. And I was in one of these, it wasn't Oren Bega, but it was one of these really big cave networks, or maybe it was Oren Bega, but it was some sort of an underground cave thing. And you had to click on a certain number of glowies, right? And so I was playing in the morning, like I'd gotten up early, I'd had breakfast, and I was like, well, let me just play City of Heroes for an hour, and then I'll get ready for work. So it was like 9 in the morning, 9:15 in the morning. I'm playing this mission, and there were a certain number of glowies, and I had clicked on all but one, right? And I could not find this last glowy. And I started getting more and more frustrated. There was no way to drop missions. There was no way to do any of that at the time. And so I finally found where it was supposed to be, right? And it was in a wall. Like I was up against the wall. You could hear the sound right here, and it was clearly in the wall. And I went all over the place looking for it, and I made sure. And so I filed a customer service ticket, and I waited and waited, and about a half an hour after the customer service ticket was filed, maybe 20 minutes, somebody contacted me and said, what's going on? And I told him, and he came, and there's a hostage. He came into the mission, I think. I didn't see anything, but he went into the mission and he looked around, and I guess he convinced himself that I had in fact completed it. And so he just completed it for me, like auto completed it. And so I thanked him, and it was clearly a bug, right? And so they had this problem a lot in City of Heroes, especially early on, where the glowies would spawn inside walls, where hostages, right, like this hostage, would spawn. If I can show you, would like spawn inside here. You can't get in there. So he's in there, and his two guys that are his captors are in there, and you can't even find them. And so you're walking all over the map, and there's nothing, and you cannot find that one guy. And so I think they got tired of having to handle that bug because it happened a lot when the game went live. It was probably the biggest problem with the game, was things not spawning in the mission that you required to complete the mission. And I think they just got sick and tired of dealing with it. So eventually, they just said, "Okay, guys, you can do this for yourself, right? Once every 3 days." They didn't want people blowing their way through story arcs, but they said once every 3 days, you can clear a mission for yourself, because they knew that there were bugs, right, and that this sometimes happened. Man, this is insane. We've covered almost this entire map, and there are still only 2 hostages that we found. Look how many mobs there are here if you wanted to fight every single one. Which I have no intention of doing. And this whole evening may be a bust. First I got repeatedly killed and couldn't record, and now I'm doing this mission, and to be perfectly honest, if I can't complete this mission, I'm probably not going to save this recording either, because what's the point? You're just watching me not find things. I can imagine people saying, why am I watching this, So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of space over here we haven't done. right there. I mean, there can't be 7 guys over here, but maybe there's one. Yep. Alright, let's assassinate the mech guy. Maybe that'll take him out. Yeah, see, wow, I can't even one-shot a minion. That's how much resistance he has. Yep, he's got 50% resistance. Now with build-up, that would have one-shotted him. Okay, that's the 3rd guy. And there is another guy. Yeah, man, they just stacked these guys up right here. And now that's going to aggro these 3. But that's okay. Maybe it's not. Have I found the congressman? No, I don't think I have. Yeah, they really did pile them all up in exactly the one spot that I hadn't gone. Wow. 11 damage. Look at that, 11 damage. Okay, so we have 2 people to rescue. Yeah, I think this is really insane mission design. I use that word a lot. I feel like this is not good mission design. This section of the map had, what, 4 or 5 of the 7 people? Why would you do that? Why make the map that big if they're all going to be in one spot? I mean, and then another one of the guys was like over here. So 6 of them have all been like in this bottom strip of the map. What do you need a big map for if you're going to do that? You're literally purposely designing a mission to waste people's time in 90% of the map. That's, to me, not good design. I don't know if they spawn in random points or not. I don't think so. I think it's scripted. So, alright, where haven't we been? Further down the side here. Just got one more guy. It's going to be the hardest one to find. Needle in a haystack. I remember one of my scrapper videos. Maybe I posted it, maybe I didn't. I feel like it was Carney's. Guys, I don't know if you saw my Carney ones or not. I don't remember, but I'm fairly sure in one of them, in fact, I know in one of them, I just don't know if I posted it. Basically, what I started doing was this, right? I started going to every single spawn because I couldn't find the last hostage. And I started going to every single spawn and just killing it, right? And what ended up happening was eventually, right, as you're hitting tab, tab, tab to target the nearest guy, right, eventually I just tabbed into the hostage takers, right? So I've just tabbed somebody over there, and if you just keep doing that, eventually you will get the hostage because you're going to just tab target one of the hostage takers. And that may be what I have to do here. Because, let's see, well, up here we haven't done. So let's get up here. And all, you know, they're often in these little crevices, you know. Nope. Not there, that's for sure. Well, as we're looking around, I can tell another story. I had a really frustrating moment. It was yesterday, I think? Yeah. So I used the same headphones and microphone for recording this video that I do for recording my classes. In this, I'm recording this in late March of 2020. And if you know anything about what's been going on, or if you're watching this in later years, you know anything about your history, in March of 2020, we had an epidemic, the coronavirus, which caused a lot of things to get shut down in the United States. And one of the things that got shut down was universities, right? Because universities are basically petri dishes. Students pass diseases to each other, to their professors. I can tell you that for sure. And so what they did was I guess we're going to have to start just taking things out. So what they did was they didn't cancel classes, they put them all online. And so I have to teach online all the time now. And so I have to record my lectures and post them so students who can't dial in when the class would be scheduled normally can still see class. Okay, so that's fine. I have the recording equipment, right? I've got OBS. I've got my microphone and headset. So should be fine. So there's actually a different piece of software called Panopto that we use to record PowerPoints on my campus. And here's the last sausage. And Panopto is annoying, and I have a lot of trouble with the volume of Panopto. So yesterday morning, I think it was, I was trying to record, and every time I started up Panopto, it kept telling me your volume is really low, you might want to boost it. And when I listened to it, I got nothing, right? And we completed the mission and earned a badge. Excellent. Who's who? So I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And I don't know what was wrong at the beginning, because I checked OBS and OBS was fine. OBS was recording and Panopto wasn't. So then I said, let me change the jack. It's a USB jack, but it's also an analog. So it's like an analog plug that plugs into a USB jack that then plugs into the USB port. So I pulled it out of one and put it into the other, and what I didn't realize when I pulled it out was I pulled the analog jack out just a hair, and that's enough to just completely disconnect it. So I was able to hear sound, so there was enough connection for me to hear sound, but I couldn't record anything. And then I couldn't get any sound out of anything, and I was going nuts. It took me like a half an hour to figure out that the stupid thing was just pulled out by like a millimeter. What a mess. Okay. So she says, you saved Congressman Hadley. That's very good. Be introduced to a new contact. I guess we'll do Christine Lansdale. Okay. And she's not looking like she's giving me a story arc here. I guess we'll have to see. I think maybe we'll do some, I don't know, should we do some Krotoa? I feel like this has been a long enough episode, so I'll think about that and come back next time. Gonna sell some enhancements. Wow, we got a lot. And some salvage. Oh, look at that. We got some orange. So I'm going to go sell all that stuff, and I will be back with another episode in the near future. Until then, I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes.